Good evening, everybody, and welcome to an impromptu, as always, video. It's been a while. I hope you're all doing well. I hope everybody's fine, and I hope life is not treating you too shabbily. I'm doing okay, thank you very much. Had quite a busy couple of weeks sorting things out, and doing this and doing that. But I'm doing all right, and that's the main thing. And gosh, before you know it, you're already almost zooming into March. Where did January go? I have no idea. But here we are. It's nearly the middle of February, and time waits for no man or woman or anything in between. This video, really, I just wanted to bring you a couple of announcements, really. By the way, in the background there, not too sure if it's still on now, but there was a snooker, or there is a snooker tournament on at the moment. For those of you who don't know what snooker is, and in particular my American friends, look it up. Basically, is the best thing I can say to you. It's a large version of pool billiard. Snooker table is about 3 times the size of a billiard table. So the length of a billiard table would be the width of a snooker table, roughly. It's a lovely sport. I used to love playing it when I was younger. I used to go down to the local we had a place called the British Legion where I used to live. It's like an upmarket working man's club, if you like, but more for ex-service personnel, as my dad used to be in the army. And they used to have a couple of snooker tables there, and every lunchtime I'd be down there and throw a coin into the light machine, and then you have 20 minutes light over your table and play away. Interesting thing about snooker, by the way, as a little side note, it's one of those, one of many, many, many things that were invented, in inverted commas, in the 1800s. Snooker, the sport of snooker, was invented, for example, by a British military army officer who happened to be based in India at the time in 1875. If you're busy occupying a foreign country, why not use some time and just come up with and invent and devise a brand new sport? Why not? If you've ever seen a snooker table up close, you can imagine how not very easy that endeavour would have been in the first place. But hey ho, that's what the history books tell us. 1875 was when snooker was invented, but it is a gorgeous sport. I used to love playing it. Nowhere near as good as these chaps that you see in there in the background, these pros. They're amazing. One of the things I'd like to do one day actually is go to a snooker tournament and actually watch the top players play live. I'd be quite up for that. But anyway, going way off on a tangent there, I wanted to mention a couple of things. First of all, talking about 1800s and old world-ish sort of stuff, and questioning the narrative, as usual. I will be, at some point in the next few weeks, hopefully getting together with a couple of friends, and we will be going to look at a viaduct not far from Bournemouth called the Branksome Viaduct. It's supposed to have been built in the Victorian era, along with everything else, right? It's a 10-arched, red bricked construction, and apparently, according to mainstream official sources, it has been earmarked for demolition by the year 2035 at a cost of 2 million British pounds sterling. Quite unbelievable, really, to think that they would want to demolish such a construction. But then again, thinking about it, if you look at recent history, let's say the last 100 years, you'll find that in many, many areas around the world, some beautiful, beautiful constructions and buildings and such like have just simply been demolished and removed from the surface of our earth, and replaced, if at all, then replaced by or with absolute monstrosities of buildings, the type that you would expect us to be building nowadays. Whereas these things that they get rid of, basically, for reasons that I believe are a bit more nefarious than just cost-cutting exercises. These constructions, there's a lot of thought has gone into them and a lot of work has gone into them, and I definitely very much doubt that they were built in an era that we're told they were built. That's another story, and that's something I'll be talking about when I do my sort of presentation at the end of April at the Flat Earth Social, which reminds me, it's a good segue actually. There will be a Flat Earth Social on the 20th, I think it's the 25th of February, Tuesday the 25th at 7 p.m. Sean Hibbler, filmmaker amongst other things, will be featured in that meetup. He'll be beamed in via Zoom or whatever is going to be used to present / answer some questions. So if you fancy and you want to network a little bit and hook up and have some interesting conversations and learn some new stuff, then do come along. Doors are open to anybody who's interested. Not a closed shop at all. Then do come along. Bridge House Hotel, 7 p.m. on Tuesday the 25th of February. Like I said, Sean Hibbler will be presenting. But getting back to what I was saying there, why I introduced that is because I'll be doing my presentation at the end of April, and I will be focusing on what is called, a bit wrongly I think, but let's just call it for argument's sake, old world constructions. So basically constructions that have been given a date, an official date of construction, date that I severely doubt, and there are many, many reasons why those dates that were given officially should be doubted and questioned seriously. Not just for logistical reasons would it have been an impossibility. And we're not just talking about buildings and constructions here in the UK, we're talking worldwide, in areas where population hardly existed, etc., 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 and yet you find these constructions all over the place. And of course, they're all half buried underground because something cataclysmic of some sort has definitely happened since those buildings and constructions were built, because half of them are half, like I said, they're half submerged. Hence you find windows peeking over the top of the paths and streets and all sorts of stuff. Hence you see concrete bridges or steps connecting the road halfway up a building and making that the ground floor and all that sort of stuff. You know, there's evidence of it everywhere you look. But that is something I'm going to be focusing on, especially the Victorian, so-called Victorian restoration of the mid-1800s, where they put it in plain sight, basically, that they took it upon themselves to restore all church-like, according to the narrative, but I would say all buildings that were repossessed and inherited. So yeah, I'll be chatting to the group about that, and I want to make it a bit interactive. I don't want to be just sitting there with a stick going from here to here was this, and from there to there is that. I'd like it to be interactive with people, because we all see evidence of this in our daily lives, all of us, without realizing it, right? Quite literally, we walk over these so-called prism lights all the time, the glass blocks that are put in the ground to allow for natural light to go down, so that you've got some natural light in your cellar through your cellar windows, basement windows. Who builds windows in basement walls? That in itself is silly, if not odd, and stuff like that. So there'll be lots of that we'll be talking about. It should be a lot of fun. But that's the end of April. Another thing I wanted to talk about that precedes that, a friend of mine let me know of this a few days ago, and that is, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there has been a so-called COVID-19 reflection day earmarked, whereby people are encouraged to go to certain pre-stated sort of areas. I do believe there's like an interactive online map that accompanies this date somewhere if you go online and have a look, to basically offer a minute's silence and also remember not what I would remember. They're going to remember the people who put in all the hard work and you know, that were there for us, and all the rest of it. Now, I'm not putting down anybody who worked or still does work in the health industry, and I'm not suggesting for one moment that there weren't plenty of people within that industry who tried their best and are always there where they can be to help others. Absolutely not decrying that at all. But I would suggest that Reflection Day should be more about remembering those who have been severely damaged or outright killed due to, let's say, procedures of a medical nature that were undertaken in the wake of a narrative pushed by a compliant media. Compliant is the wrong word. So I'm going to try and discuss this a little bit with some friends, and hopefully maybe not on the actual day of the 9th, because it's a bit too short notice now, but certainly in a month or two, maybe looking towards May or something, I'd like to sort of rekindle the idea of holding a vigil type event initiative again, like we did a couple of years ago in 2023, because this topic needs to be talked about and kept alive. You know, every day there are people suffering from what happened in that period, without me, expressing it too obviously with the words I choose. And, we need to stay on top of it and remind people as to why, health-wise, they're in the situation that they are right now. Or, better said, share our experiences with people, because at the end of the day, like we've always been saying, some of us anyway, we are all in the same boat, regardless of what side of any fence people thought they were on back in the day, right? And I think, when I'm hearing things like Reflection Day, I mean, talk about irony, talk about mockery. It's of the highest order. It absolutely disgusts me, to be honest with you. People should be getting together, putting aside their differences and acknowledging the fact that we have some severe issues, health-wise, of a physical and mental nature, that isn't getting better and is not going away because of what happened, because of what was enforced upon us, right? So that's what I'm going to be striving to do. I was thinking of the 9th, and then I realised only a couple of days ago, I thought, blimey, we're already there nearly. It's only a few weeks away. So the 9th of March will be too soon for that, but maybe in a couple of months' time, that's something I'd like to do. So if anybody is interested and want to get in contact with me and help me out on that one, I've already got a couple of people who are going to be supporting in one way or another. But then please get in touch with me. You can find me on Facebook. My name, Sven Pillay. Just put it in Facebook, you'll find me there. Or Instagram, Sven Pillay, one word, all lowercase. You'll find me there. I have an account there as well. And you can drop me a line, send me a direct message or whatever, DM me, and we can arrange something and have a discussion about it and see where we can go from there. But I think, honestly, this is something that we have to keep reminding people of, because people get, including myself, very forgetful, and we should not forget at all. Anyway, enough said on that. I've made my point, but that will be hopefully in a couple of months' time. But yeah, look out for that Reflection Day. See what you think about that. I personally find it deplorable, because it's mockery for those who understand what really happened or what really didn't happen. And of course, it's further bullshit offered to those who don't get it and buy the official nonsense, right? So either way, it's nasty. Anyway, so that was really about it. I think I've covered all the points I wanted to cover. I'm just approaching 15 minutes, which is about my limit now, I think. So it's good to be putting another video out. Just a brief one. Recently, a few weeks ago, the last videos I put out was regarding the amazing extent of light generated by the grass lighting, the pitch lighting from the football stadium in Bournemouth. I got varied responses to those videos. I wasn't suggesting little green men, and I wasn't suggesting there was something weird going on in terms of, I don't know, beams from somewhere or whatever. I was just questioning why such a vast area in the air could be illuminated by such a small space on the ground, because, you know, this technology of heating the grass up and lighting the grass up has been around for years, by the way. And I've worked at that club for years, and I've seen these things in action, and never has there been a hue like that to that extent. So my question is, what's in the air at all that's allowing for the magnification to such a degree? That's really where I was going with it, because one thing is for sure, they've been pumping a lot of crap in our skies, and I've seen so many videos and so much footage that's come across my channel in Instagram and on Facebook and stuff like that, and also personally sent to me by people I know around the world, right, with unusual amounts of fog, the thickness, the smell, the stench, the feel of the stuff in the air, and all that sort of thing. You know, definitely things have been ramped up. That's not a figment of anybody's imagination. It's the way it is. Just because it's not being shown on the news on your officialdom box doesn't mean to say it ain't happening. I mean, let's face it, a few years ago, we had over 1 million people marching in London about something that was going on. Didn't get a mention in the news either. Well, does that mean I wasn't there? I definitely was. So, you know, this is the problem. People need to look a little bit more cleverly if they want to come across what's really happening. And, you know, they need to get a little bit creative and resourceful in terms of their research skills, and not just put on a channel on the telly or just type something into Google and hope you're going to get some sort of result. You're not. You're going to get what the mainstream wants you to see. That's the way it is. The censorship is also at an all-time high right now as well. But that's another story. I could do a whole video on that. Anyway, all right. On that note, until the next video, I shall see you all soon. Some of you much, much sooner. Until then, take it all easy. Have a wonderful week. And I shall speak to you all very soon. Till then, bye for now.